PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned Podcast, Football Night in America. Final week of the regular season, NFL is coming up. It flies by every single year, Chris. I saw your piece, by the way, last week. You went to D.C., you spent some time with Jaden Daniels, and I was thinking on the field, it's obvious how talented he is, but that's the exact kind of kid or person you want to be the CEO of your franchise. He is grounded. He is confident. Off the field, on the field, he seems like a guy who's never going to do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing. He's that kind of guy. He's that guy, Chris.
Agreed. I mean, vibes are high in that Washington facility because of him. You could feel that. I was there a few years ago. It didn't feel like anything like I felt when I was here just last week and visiting him. He's just everything you see and everything you said, you're spot on. He's just a cool, smooth customer. Yeah. Nothing bothers him. Right? To the point where he's so nice and everything, you're like, I think he might need to learn to be a little bit more of a jerk if he wants to win in this league, right? I mean, not that he really needs to, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, is there a meanness about him? Because I even joked with him. I was like, you throw an interception, you have like a little grin on your face. You throw a touchdown, you have a little grin on your face. You win the game, you have a grin on your face. You lose the game, you have a grin on your face. It's just the way he is. But he talked about how he wants to portray that he used to think about, hey, we're down or things are bad, and let me still act positive so people are positive around me. And he said now he's become like that so much that he doesn't have to think about it anymore, and that's just the way he is naturally.
What has been your assessment of Michael Penix through 2 games?
It's been good. It's an incredibly tough situation, as I've been trying to explain to people. To get thrown out there at this point of the year when everybody's just – all systems go, all hitting on all cylinders, total football shape and all that. But the one thing you cannot deny is that the ball comes off that guy's hand in a special way. It does. I mean, it's a different look. He's got a powerful arm. He sits there in the pocket. He lets it rip. They're not doing a ton on offense, but in a lot of ways, I think they're somewhat more dangerous on offense, even though it might not be as many plays and formations. He's just capable of hitting certain throws that Kirk Cousins is not capable of hitting. And, hey, this is only the tip of the iceberg. When he gets a full offseason and they really get to orchestrate the offense and he gets to feel real comfortable and all that, I think you're going to see Michael Penix look a lot like you saw Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix look in a hurry. It's going to look real damn good.
Did the Falcons wait too long?
No, I don't think they did. I think that, that was a tough situation. That really was. I don't know if there was any right answer there. They, of course, were in a playoff run. They were the quarterback who's been very good for a long time. They were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that he can work himself out of this, right? I think they made the move right at the proper time. I do. It's a tough one. It really is. And, hey, like we know, it was there to be had last week. They should have called a timeout, in my opinion, when they got that one completion up the right sideline. They dilly-dallied there too long because it's a rookie quarterback and he's trying to get everybody orchestrated. If it's Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, veteran quarterback, Mahomes, whatever, I understand saving the timeout because he's going to be able to get up the line and be like, hey, this formation, blah, 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 let's run the play, set hut. But Michael Penix is young and he's communicating a little slowly to everybody and making sure everybody's on the page, and that's where precious time went by.
How long was that adjustment for you from, college to the NFL timing wise? Because we've seen Caleb Williams struggle with it seemingly this season as well, where the game, I don't want to say it's moving. And
some guys get it right away, Billy.
But it seems like he has trouble with the play clock. It seems to just be moving at a lot different speed for him.
Yeah, well, nothing's been easy for them, right? I mean, nothing. They've been just a dumpster fire, really. And I think there's a little bit sometimes too much of they give him too much, and to where he's at the line of scrimmage, and he's young and he's trying to figure it out, and it's like, oh gosh, it's 5, it's 4, it's 3, hold on, check this, and set hut, and it kind of looks like discombobulated at times. It does, and that's where they got to help him. That's the biggest thing, but it is a big adjustment. That 40-second running clock in the NFL compared to what college football, it comes in a hurry, let alone the plays are a lot longer. They're a lot more descriptive, and really in the NFL, more times than not, you got to call 2 plays in the huddle. So then you get out of the huddle, you get that long play call, the clock's been running anyways, and you get out and you go, oh crap. There's only 13 seconds left, and I still got to send a guy in motion and try to figure out what coverage they're in, and then try to get to the right play out of the 1 or 2 or 3 that we called in the huddle. And that's where the coach can help the quarterback at times and try to simplify things and maybe not call plays like that on a consistent basis, just every now and then when need be.
Chris, there aren't a lot of games this weekend that actually mean something in terms of the playoff picture. But for every team, they got a couple of players who are trying to get some contract incentives, a couple of bonuses and stuff like that. How much is that like discussed in the locker room, and how much do players be like, hey, I got this. You're going to run this one in no matter what?
I mean, it happens a lot. It happens a real lot. Like, right, who did we see? We saw
Brady and
Gronk
that? Is the one I remember.
Well, Brady and Gronk. We had the old Lions running back who was in last year in New Orleans, right? Didn't they score late in the game to give him a touchdown because there was Jamal Williams?
Oh, that's
right. They got an
yes.
incentive, remember?
Yes.
And they were whoever they were playing. The coach got pissed because the players went renegade. They were like, "Fuck the play call by the coach. We're running it up the middle and then get him an incentive." But it is talked about. It definitely is, and the thing you hope for, because the players can't sway it in your favor totally, right? You might try to help out your guy. You need the coaches to be on board. That's the big thing. And hopefully the coaches aren't too much of a kiss ass to the owner where they're worried about the owner's, endless pit of money and him saving a few extra dollars. Like, right, I was in Tampa once and we were coming down this stretch. We weren't even in the playoffs officially, but we were going to be in the playoffs more than likely. We had 2 games left and we could win the division. We ended up winning the division and all that and getting a home wild card game. But Ike Hilliard needed like 7 catches in the 2 games to get like $250,000. And they came to him before the second to last game and they're like, "Hey, I think we're going to rest you these next 2 weeks. We're going to rest you to make sure you're ready for the playoffs." And of course, he told us and me and Joey Galloway, and there was a little bit of an uproar. And I think he was like, "No, fuck you, I'm playing. Like, that's not happening." And he got that, and we made sure he got it, and I was happy to see that. But teams can be annoying when it comes to that stuff at times.
Wait, so Ike Hilliard, the coach said you're not playing, and he said, "Fuck you, I'm playing," and he ended up playing?
He goes, no, I'm playing. And he goes, "I'm playing." They tried to say it early in the week, and then he told us, too, to where we were, I think they started to realize, whoa, like, the team's got his back. He told a few guys, the quarterback, Joey Galloway, they all know what's going on here. I think we got to play him. And he played really well for us in the last 2 games and helped us win the NFC South and get that home playoff game.
Chris, this is so tricky for the Chiefs because I've seen teams and coaches do it. I've seen Bill Parcells with your dad play his starters when they've already clinched home field throughout the playoffs. So is Andy Reid doing the right thing here?
I do. You got to play. Well, I mean, listen, I understand not playing Kelsey and Mahomes and Chris Jones. I get that. But, like, sit out the whole team, let all the backups play? No, I don't agree with that. I don't. You got to play a little bit. Like, the way it sets up right now, and I did a video on Instagram this week about this, I mean, they're going to go 3.5 weeks without meaningful football, a meaningful football game. Right. That's scary. That's a recipe for getting upset in the divisional round. That's what happens. Remember when the Ravens got upset by the Titans a few years ago in the divisional round? They didn't have to play anything the last 2 games of the year. Oh, bam, bam, boom. Oh, wait, this is what it's a street fight again? We forgot what it's like. We haven't played football in 4 weeks. So that's what I worry about. Even for a team like the Patriots, like the Chiefs, right? Like you mentioned it. There was the Parcells Giants or the Belichick Patriots. They had a lot of games where week 17, it was all locked up. They didn't really need to do anything, but Brady and everybody played like maybe into the 3rd quarter, and then they took them out. Because, it's too long of a time, and you don't want to do that, and you want to go into the playoffs somewhat sharp and ready to go. So I hope the Chiefs play a good majority of their guys, at least a good amount of the football game.
I will say, if you have the ability to keep Joe Burrow out of the playoffs, you should probably take that opportunity. I mean,
I hear you there. I hear you there. Now, listen, Denver's no easy thing either. You just saw them go to toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow.
Right.
We saw them. They should have beat Kansas City as well. I don't think Kansas City gives a fuck, Stugotz. I don't think they give a shit. I think Kansas City's like, bring on whoever you want to bring on. We're ready. And as much as Joe Burrow's scary, they're less scary than years past because of that defense, right? Those other years when Kansas City had to play Cincinnati, those defenses were pretty good. This is one I think they look at this year and go, we can score 30 on this defense for sure. And I don't think there's quite the fear from those top teams in the AFC of Cincinnati like there used to be.
Chris, the only difference is that's the one matchup they play in with a quarterback. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but the quarterback thinks he's the better quarterback on the field.
Yeah. Or he's certainly not afraid. That's for sure.
Yes.
But, I mean, that's where I'd love to see him get in because, I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar all on the same side of the playoff bracket. I mean, the four guys that are clearly in a class of their own right now and quarterback in the NFL. It's like those four, and then we can make a list after that, right? I mean, that they stand alone, and I would love to see all four get in.
I'm already feeling bad for Lamar Jackson, Chris, because, you know, the rap on him is do it in the postseason. He's won the MVP multiple times. He might win it again this year. But if it holds, if the seeding holds right now, Lamar Jackson is going to have to beat Josh Allen in Buffalo. And then if he does that, he's likely going to have to beat Mahomes in Kansas City. It ain't happening, Chris.
Well, he's going to have to earn it. You know, this is the Super Bowl. This is the NFL. You got to take it. That's what the Chiefs have been doing, and that's what it's going to take. You want to be the man? You got to beat the man. That's what you got to do. And yeah, you know, this is some of those early season losses to the Raiders and the Browns, right? That's come back to bite them in the ass, and now they're going to have to go on the road and do it. But damn, they're hot. Their offense is playing as good as it's played all year. Their defense is definitely better than it was at the halfway point. So certainly capable of doing those type of things. I think Baltimore is the worst matchup in the world for Buffalo. I think Buffalo would rather see any team in the AFC rather than Baltimore. I think Baltimore really causes some problems for them. But to your point, Lamar is under more pressure, I think, than anybody in the NFL in this playoffs. I do. And you bring him up with the MVP stuff. I mean, this year blows last year out of the way, right? Last year, there was almost really like Lamar won it by default. There was no like unreal single guy that was like, oh, wow. I mean, you look at Lamar's stats last year, they're good, but they're not eye-popping.
This year's been his best season, yes.
But but last year they had some moments at the end of the year, right? They blew out Miami and they blew out San Francisco in San Francisco on Monday night. That's where I think Josh Allen has the advantage on Lamar this year, right? Josh Allen's stats are close to Lamar's, but not quite there. I don't think Josh Allen's support is as good as Lamar's is on the offensive side of the ball. And Josh Allen had a run of games there where it was the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Rams, and the Lions that like were all national televised games, and you were all going, oh my gosh, is this guy the best football player we've ever seen? And I think those moments will get him over the top to win the MVP as long as he doesn't just totally, screw it up this weekend.
He's also had times where he's just sat out quarters, right? Because they're blowing people so out of the water that it's like, well, he's not going to get passing yards. He's not going to get touchdowns. He's just not playing, which is weird because, like, they did mention he's going to play this weekend just to keep his streak alive. So I would think that's like a series or two max.
I think
for
so.
Josh Allen. Because why put him at risk for anything there?
Yeah, no, I think it's more of like, get the start. It's also, let's just go through the process and, go through warm-ups and act like we're going to play. So the next week when, we're sitting at home and it's a wild card game and the Chargers are here, it's like, okay, we're ready to go and we feel pretty good, or whoever might be there. So I think that's what it's about. But yeah, I wouldn't expect to see him real long either. But like, man, it's crazy. Last year, like I said, it was like there was barely an MVP. This year, we got four guys that I would go, holy shit, they win the MVP in any other year if they weren't just competing against each other right now. And this year, it's a crazy year.
Billy, did you just put the Dolphins in the playoffs? Is that what I heard there?
I mean, you never know.
You know what Sims had to say about Tua in big games last week? I mean,
listen, Chris. And I'm setting you up here to just be murdered by Dolphins fans, but I'm not 100% in disagreement.
He doesn't need your help.
Listen, because I'm kind of with you. I think Tua lost a lot of people last week. Like, it's not his call. He can't just decide that he wants to play. The medical team, the coaching staff, whatever, sit him out. But man, you want to see your franchise player get out there when the season is on the line. The Dolphins got lucky and Stu Huntley won the game for them, but you have Tua out, you have Waddle out. In Indianapolis, you had Anthony Richardson out. All teams that have a chance to make the playoffs, all in must-win games, all just out.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, it's big, and again, it's not like Tua's good. I'm not against any of that, right? I'm not. I'm just against the fact of I don't understand $55 million a year to a guy like you've heard me say. In big games, he's usually the biggest question we have in a big game, and his ability to be available is a problem. That does not match up with, oh, that's the guy we pay and put the franchise and all the chips on. That's bad team building. I will say the same thing that the 49ers do the same thing with Brock Purdy. Dan Patrick asked me about it today, and I brought up these examples, and I went, if I'm the 49ers, I go, here, Brock Purdy, here's $30 million. Show me somebody else that's going to give you $30 million. Here you go. Right. I wouldn't have done much different with Miami and Tua. I would have gone, here's 30, here's 35. Show me who else is going to give you more. Oh, right, crickets. Take it? No? Okay, see you later. I don't know. But that's what I don't understand, and that's where I've heard teams, and I talk to a lot of people, as you guys know. I think it's going to start going this way a little bit. There's going to be a line in the sand a little bit with some of these teams start going, no, you're not this guy at all positions, and you're not just because you're up for the next contract and you're a pretty good player doesn't mean you get to flirt with the top of the market at that position. I think teams are wising up to that, and I think Tua, Deshaun Watson, all that stuff is kind of a warning sign for that kind of stuff.
Well, you also have people like Baker who takes like a $30 million deal.
Exactly. I was going to say,
is a franchise quarterback, right?
Exactly.
Oh, you kind of then have people think like, well, what if I go out there and what if I give money to a Sam Darnold for a lot less? Maybe Sam, not that Sam will be that guy for a team, but when you have guys that succeed under that thought process, it seems like more of that is going to happen.
Right, like the Giants a few years ago. They could have offered Daniel Jones $30 million a year and he was going to take it. Why did they offer 40? Like what? Why? Like these teams are negotiating against themselves. They're literally like raising the price tag on themselves. They're like, here's 30. Oh, no, let's make it 34. Oh, wait, you're good with 34? Nah, we'll make it 38. And it's like, what? Why is it going up? Nobody fucking wants this guy. What are we doing? Who's bidding against him? I don't understand it. We'll see what happens.
Chris became a suit. He used to be a player guy. Now he's a suit. He's there just try to save money, not to get best interest of the player.
No, see, that's wrong. See, this is where I'm totally the player guy. This is where I'm totally the player guy because Tua and some of these other guys are not worth 3 and 4 guys on the football team. That's what I'm trying to say here. Right. Let's start paying some of these other guys a little bit more and stop paying just because he's our quarterback and we won with him. We're going to pay him and fucking ruin the whole organization over that. That has got to stop. Well, like, I mean, Tua's not worth 3 times some of the other good players on your football team. I'm sorry.
It costs the Dolphins guys like Christian Wilkins. It costs them Andrew Van Ginkel, who just got named to the Pro Bowl for the first time.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Yeah, see, you're coming around. You're sick a little bit, but you're not totally sick in the brain. I get it.
Sell out. Pro management guy.
Wait, so what happens here? What happens with Sam Darnold? I keep telling you the Vikings are going to have a tough time walking away from Sam Darnold. So if Sam Darnold, what kind of money is Darnold looking at next year, Chris?
If I'm them, I want to see another year. I don't want to go total long-term contract guaranteed money. I mean, you just heard some of the things I just said. That would go against that. Also saying that, though, I wouldn't want to let him out of the building with the way he's playing and what he's doing right now. Franchise him. That's what I would do as we sit here right now. I think that's the right play. It's about $40 million. You buy yourself a year. If I'm Minnesota, I want to see one more year. I know this has been really good, but shit, sometimes teams can get hot and a quarterback can get hot and that vibe of that year, and they do it for 1 year and they can't replicate it. Like me. That's what I did. Okay, there you go. So that happens. You know, hey, whoa, they're hot, they're good. And then that quarterback can never replicate that again in his career. And that's where I'd want to see it a little bit more before I just totally, empty out the Brinks truck for him.
Unless they go to the Super Bowl, of course, right?
Well, yeah, unless they go to the Super Bowl, then that's a whole different ball game. And then maybe that's where you get into, again, I'd still want to see it.
Interesting.
But maybe I'd go a 2-year deal with a little bit more money than the franchise or something like that. But as I sit here right now, I'd be thinking franchise.
Chris, you got the Vikings this Sunday. They take on the Lions in Detroit for the 1 seed in the NFC. Who needs it more? Who needs that more to make a run?
I think the Vikings.
I actually think it's Detroit. Now, Both offenses are special, but yeah, hear me out, Stugotz, and I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm just going to throw some logic at you here. Both offenses are awesome, right? Kevin O'Connell, does anybody get 25 and 30 and 20 and 25 yard, completions open more than Kevin O'Connell and the damn Minnesota Vikings? Is incredible. Ben Johnson, I think Ben Johnson's the best offensive coordinator about to be head coach since Shanahan came from the Falcons to go to the 49ers, or maybe McVay from Washington to the Rams. I think it's that quality of a guy, though, on that side of the ball. He's special. But here's where I think Detroit needs it, because I worry about Detroit's defense. I mean, you saw the other night. I mean, the 49ers were carving through it like they weren't even there. I mean, it was a fun game to watch. But you got to be worried about Detroit's defense. And I think at home, the advantage of the crowd noise is a big deal. That'll just give them a little bit more of an advantage because of why? Because, hey, now whoever's coming in there, you can't call 2 plays or 3 plays in the huddle. You got to kind of simplify things. It's too loud to do all this stuff at the line of scrimmage and call all these plays in the huddle. And that would be an advantage to Detroit for their defense to a degree. So that's my only reason I say that. But, I mean, to Stugotz, your point, both teams could use it. That's for sure.
Are we going to be witnessing Aaron's final game in the NFL this weekend?
If I had a bet, I'd say yes.
Really?
I mean, I wouldn't want to bet a lot of money on this. I think he's definitely done with the Jets. But I just don't know or feel like there's a clear landing spot. And as I think you've heard me say, and I've said to Florio, I mean, Rodgers' reputation around the NFL is not very good. Like, Nobody's signing up for, let me deal with the Aaron Rodgers circus and all of that comes with it for him at this age and his style of play and how he plays now. So, yeah, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say this is the last game we see Aaron Rodgers.
This is an interesting one to me. Saquon Barkley has a chance to break the single-season rushing record. The Eagles are not going to play him. They're playing the Giants. Are they doing right by Saquon Barkley? Barkley said he's at peace with it. I'm not certain that he is. Are the Eagles doing right by Saquon Barkley?
I'm sure he wants to, but I do think they're doing right by Saquon Barkley. Sometimes you got to save the player from himself, and this is what I would say to Saquon Barkley. I've been saying this all week. Like, yeah, I know you want to break the record. I get it. But if you win a Super Bowl and they're Super Bowl MVP, that'll pay you a whole lot more money through your lifetime than just being the single-season rushing record leader.
Right.
You win the Super Bowl, that's a big deal forever. And then you win the Super Bowl and you're the MVP, which we know there could be a real possibility with him running for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. You go into the legends category forever. Every time you sign your name, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl 59, blah, blah, blah. Oh, damn. Can you put Super Bowl 59 on there? That's an extra $5,000. Oh, yeah, sure, blah, blah, blah. I mean, so that'll pay him forever. It stinks. I want to see him break it too, but I think they're doing the right thing. Use this as a bye week. I think they're the best team in the NFC. If I do my playoff bracket, I'm going to pick the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I can tell you that right now.
Okay, so if Sirianni loses in the first round, is he getting fired? Because there's a good chance he might. I mean, Chris, they're going to have a tough matchup.
I know. I don't know. I don't think so. And this is something that I haven't dug into or tried to find any back channel information on or anything. I think if they got upset in the first round, there'd probably be, yes, he'd be in danger for sure. I think if they get by the first round, I think he's okay no matter what. But if they get upset at home in Wild Card Weekend with that team, yeah, he's in trouble.
I mean, Chris, we're talking about Green Bay or Washington. I mean,
I know.
The NFC's a gauntlet, man.
Definitely. But as we've seen here, and Green Bay's going to play all their starters because they have to. I mean, that's a bad way to go into the playoffs the way they played last week. And Jordan Love, as you've heard me say all year, and again, you saw it last week, too many missed throws and plays early on in the football game. That was why they were down 20-3. So they got to try to continue to build him up. That'll be big for them. And Washington, I don't think they're going to get a Cowboys team asleep at the wheel. I expect them to win, but I do think the Cowboys will fight at home after being embarrassed last week against Philadelphia.
Chris, we're all friends here, right? You think we're all friends here?
For the most part. Depends about what you're about to say here.
Well, this is a safe space. Just amongst friends. You just said, this isn't something that you've done too much digging. You haven't heard rumblings. What are some rumblings you're hearing that you can just tell a couple friends? You know what I mean? Not the masses, just like tell us things that you may be hearing, maybe not have come to fruition yet, maybe rumblings that are out there. Don't tell us, Billy. Don't tell us like who's telling you, obviously, but just little things maybe we can keep an eye on that only the insiders like you know.
Ben Johnson, Jacksonville, Chicago, so real loud. Things there. Okay, that's
Florio's going to hear you. How many scoops has Florio stolen from you?
Vrabel, there's talks about him up in New England and all that too. I got to see that to believe that they're going to get rid of Gerard Mayo after 1 year. The other one it's out there is that, Brady's got his hooks in Vrabel already too to try to come and be the Raiders head coach. So those would be like those would be ones that I can share with you. There's a few other like coach GM combinations that I'm not that good of friends with you that I'm going to talk to you about that quite yet.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
Jeez. Billy, did you say tampering?
I didn't say that. Did you see, Chris, at Stugotz and Mike? I haven't asked you either. Did you see what Nick Wright said the other day where he painted a scenario where the Patriots get
trade Drake May.
Yeah, they trade Drake May. They get Shador. They get Travis Hunter, and then they bring in Dion to be their head coach.
Oh, Jesus!
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to buy into that one. That doesn't seem like a Patriot-like move, I don't think. And especially the way Drake May has looked and played, I think they're in love with him up there. There's no way they're
got to zig one other zag.
Let me ask you something, Chris. You worked for the Patriots for a little bit. The Patriot Way that they tell us about. Who's responsible for the Patriot Way? Because I always thought that it was like a Belichick thing, right? Like it's just kind of like the tone that Belichick said, and now he goes down to North Carolina. So like, is there still a Patriot Way?
The Patriot Way is goes back to like Parcells, and then it was handed off to Belichick. It's that. The Patriot Way is like no excuses, shut the fuck up, do your job, and then come back and do it all again tomorrow. And maybe we'll pat you on the back when it's all said and done. I mean, it's
the Giants crazy. Of the 80s, Chris.
It's what's the same thing. It's just detail. It's a mantra. It's not something that they gave themselves this name. They weren't like, we're doing it. I didn't hear that in the facility. Oh, yeah, this is the Patriot Way. This is how we do it. No, that was kind of like what the media started to say. Because, the Patriots are different in that they don't talk on the field to other teams. Their coaches don't talk to anybody. The front office wouldn't talk to anybody, right? Things were done differently. Week in, week out, preparation, all that type of stuff, work ethic. The way they dug into certain little details was special. So that's what the Patriot Way means. I mean, I'm making a video of some guy over in Germany who might try to play football, but I'm up in the scouting department. And they want to get eyes on him. So it's like, we looked under a rock in Germany. There's a guy there that's got the right height, weight, and speed. Let's scout him out. That's the Patriot Way. That's the shit that the Patriots do. The Patriots are most coaches did not want to hear me explain the Patriot Way because when they didn't like to hear all the work and detail that it went. They wanted to just believe Tom Brady did it. That's all. Most coaches that I talked to, they had Brady. That's why. I don't want to be like, no, they were 15-5 without Brady when he didn't play. And the first year he left, they went to the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. Like, no, there's a little bit more to it than that. And it is a different level of how they practice, how they prepare, how they scout. All of it is different than any other team I was a part of at any moment.
You broke down tape for them, right?
I did. I was the, I called myself the bitch boy, but, quality control on the offensive side of the ball.
So we're like, let's just amongst friends, how involved were you with SpyGate? Did you see the tapes? And if not, what other spy tapes did you maybe see that we don't know about?
I was there after that, right?
Yeah.
So
and then all of a sudden, the slap on the wrist, and you guys said, Patriot Way, we need to really straighten up. We're going to stop doing that.
Well, that would go into your detail stuff and all that too. And this is where, Belichick is brilliant. And that there wasn't definitive language about some of the stuff they were doing at that point in the rule book, right? So he's almost like a lawyer. And like I tell everybody, like Bill's like one of the smartest humans ever. It's not just football. If Bill was on Wall Street, he'd be the fucking Wolf of Wall Street too. So that's where it's a little different. But they're obviously they did some things back then. There was always rumors that they mic'd defensive linemen, right? So then the next time they played that team, they could hear the quarterback's calls at the line of scrimmage. There was always rumors like that. But I can also promise you that I saw nothing of that. They were the biggest rule followers in the world when I was there. Like, if you wanted to bet $5 on the U.S. Open, like Bill would find out and they'd send a memo to everybody in the office. No gambling on NFL premises. And you were like, what? It was like two friends who were like, I bet $5 on Tiger to win. But that's the way they were. But I'm telling you, the detail, nobody can mess with what New England did and how they broke down games. No way.
Pie chart it for us.
Yeah, Patriot Way, Chris Sims, deny.
Well, pie chart it for us, okay? Brady, Belichick, cheating, Chris Sims. Pie chart it for us.
Yeah, where were you on the cheating scale? How much did you help them? Let's not say cheat. How much did you help them work within
attention
the rules
to detail?
There was no language for.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I was there for about 18 months, and I mean, I like I said, I saw nothing other than I started to get an inkling about the balls being not properly inflated, right? Shit like that, and that's why you've heard me be a strong advocate for, that was messed up. They took air out of the footballs. He took them, not they. He, as in Tom Brady. That's all there was to it. But he didn't need to, as we know, too. The balls were properly inflated for Super Bowl 49, and he won the MVP. That's what annoyed me about it, is that Tom Brady, one of the greatest throwers I ever seen, did not need to take the air out of the ball, and he did that. But, no, man, I can't tell you. The breakdowns of those games, everything I did for that, another level. I'm just telling you, nobody broke games down the way Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots.
So if you knew that he was doing this, Belichick knew this was going on. Everyone knew this was going on.
What an interrogation that is going on right now.
I'm just saying,
but I would hang out back there in the ball boy area a lot. Like, if I got a break, I would go down and hang out there. That's where I am, because that's the way I always was with a player, and you just want to get away a little bit. That was always the spot to get away from.
Man of the people.
But it couldn't be. All you got to do, you got to stop. Like, the Patriots and Mr. Kraft tried to confuse the situation by putting misinformation out there and all that. All you got to do is read the fucking text and listen to anybody that knows anything. He took the air out of the ball. That's so be it. So what? He did it. That was messed up, right? And all they really fought of against the end was that they thought the punishment was too severe. They at the end, they really didn't deny it anymore. And that's so be it. And I'm sick of talking about it. Shut up,
Chris.
Bill.
When you woke up this morning, okay, and you should be, by the way. I don't know what Billy's doing, but when you woke up this morning and you said, "Hey, I got my show to do. I'm going to go on Dan Patrick."
Name drop.
Did you think it all, DP? Right? Did you think it all? Someone's going to interrogate me about DeflateGate 15 years ago.
No, but it does happen, like, with me a lot. And it comes up no matter what, almost like every 2 or 3 weeks in my life. It always does it does somehow, some way. Well, because I was one of the few people out there that was like that's messed up. Because I still hear people go, well, what's the big deal about taking the air out of the football? Well, what's the big deal if we lower the basket to 9 feet 10 inches? I mean, there's lots of things. What's the big deal? Then why do we have a high school football and a college football? Just let the fucking guys throw the high school ball. Damn, Tom Brady and Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, they'll throw it 100 yards. The game will be exciting. Whoa. There's a reason the balls are the way they are. And yes, he took the rules of the game into his own hands for self-benefit, and I'll always have a problem for that, and he knows that. I'm never going to just let that go totally, never.
But Chris, there is nothing more fun than playing on like a 6-foot or 7-foot hoop. I mean, you feel like Akeem Olajuwon. You feel like Ewing.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course, it's great. Yes, and I would have loved to throw in a smaller football in the NFL too. I'd have been just boom, boom. I mean, there's a reason. There's a size difference there. As you grow, your hands grow. This game, you need more skill, whatever else, and that goes up with the ball as well. So there is a difference there, 100%.
PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America, Lions and Vikings coming up on Sunday night. Final question before we get you out of here, because Mikey is right. There aren't a ton of games with a ton of consequences, but seeding is still up for grabs. And I am wondering here, who would you rather face, okay? Would you rather face the Rams or Tampa?
They're both scary because of the offenses and the quarterbacks. I think right now I'd probably say Bucks, though. The Rams' defense has become a pain in the ass.
Yes.
I am a little scared of the Rams' offense, right? I am. It's a few weeks in a row. We saw in the past game, Cooper Kupp does not look the same. They have to ride Puka Nacua too much in the pass game. That scares me, but not as much as it scares me. And because they have experience and we know the Rams are playoff tested and all that, the Bucs defense really scares me. That's my big problem with them. I got no worries about the offense. It's their defense. It's one of the worst in football. And in pass defense, it's pitiful.
Right. I asked that question because the consolation prize for the team that loses Sunday night is going to Tampa to play Baker. I mean,
I know, and that's going to be fun because we're going to see a shootout. Well, you're going to see a shootout. That's what's going to be fun.
Yes.
Tampa versus Minnesota or Tampa versus Detroit is going to be a lot of big plays on the offensive side of the ball, and it'll be a fun game to watch. That's for sure.
Who do you like in that game?
I'm going to take the Lions. I took the Lions. I'm just taking them because they're at home. I am. I'm gonna say that they find a way to get this done. But, man, I'm worried about their defense. I think I took them 31-28. I'm going Lions.
Right. Chris, I'm just saying, like, Washington, the Lions or Vikings, whoever loses, has had a great season. Might be the second best team in the NFC. And yet Washington, in my opinion, I'd rather play the Bucs. I'd rather play the Rams at home than the Bucs. I don't want anything to do with Baker Mayfield. Like, Washington, to me, has a better matchup than a team that has 3 losses this season. That's not right.
No, I hear you there. I mean, you're right. It's crazy what we're seeing. I mean, between Minnesota, Detroit, and Philadelphia, those are 3 damn good football teams in the NFC. And, one of them won't even be in the NFC Championship game. So that's crazy. We could see this matchup in the divisional round, right? There's a very good chance Detroit wins this game, Minnesota beats Tampa, and then they go on and end up playing in Detroit once again. So we'll see where it goes. There's a lot of football to be had. But, I worry about Detroit's D, and they're going to have to play through their offense and be super aggressive.
All right. PFT with Mike Florio on podcast, the Unbuttoned podcast as well, on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast as well. Football Night in America, Sunday Night Football, Lions and Vikings. Apologies for the interrogation, man.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry. I expect it. It's Billy, and he's sick in the head today, so I understand it.
Well, you just said that you waited until yesterday to book these tickets to Texas. Why no invite? Why don't you want to hang out with us ever?
Well, you're sick, and I don't want to get the bubonic plague.
Yeah.
I don't want to get
I want you to invite him one time and see if he shows up. Go ahead, invite him to the Cotton Bowl Sims right now.
Yeah, I know. He's like, well, I gotta sit here and watch my kids, and I gotta. Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe one day I'll invite him, but this ain't the time. This is a special game. He's not special enough to be a part of this.
This is the classic blow-off you told us that you do forever. No, but during football season, it's a little hard. Maybe after
I know.
football
Well, it's
season.
a Friday night game, so I can do it. That's why I'm doing it. And it's my school, and it's not you. That's really the bottom line.
Right.
That's why, okay?
You reach out to Sark after the game, couple of sideline passes. What happened there?
No, not yet,
Sark,
but I am
almost on the hot seat, right?
Here. I gotta
put some calls in.
Sark was almost on the hot seat if he blew that game. Sark get out of town? What do you think?
No, there's no hot seat. Shut up. Get out of here.
It would have been if he lost that game.
That's what I'm saying.
He was
telling Auburn, that second kick was like, Auburn, we really got to kick this in because if you miss, they're going to fire my ass. All right, bye, Chris. Have fun.
He's got to call Sark, Billy.
See ya.